following story is meant for a general audience. I repeat, this video is for general audiences, not strictly kids. So fuck off! The reballasting of the Little Western had been mostly completed, and Tanner wanted to make himself busy. So once his work had actually finished, he went from place to place around the island, looking for jobs that he could do. He shunted at Tidmouth, hauled empty trucks to quarries, delivered goods across the island. He even offered to take the breakfast train when James or Duck weren't available. But the one place that Tanner frequently visited for work was on Thomas's branch line. It was because of his frequent visits that Sir Topham Hatt temporarily assigned Tanner as Thomas's backup engine. While Tanner adjusted well to his new job, Thomas didn't enjoy it as much, and would always have some choice words whenever he was out of service. "There goes my understudy," he would say. "If you painted yourself blue back at the workshops, my passengers wouldn't tell the difference." But Tanner always laughed away Thomas's remarks, and made sure to handle Annie and Clarabelle with care. When Tanner wasn't pulling Thomas's trains, he would help pull a special tourist train known as the Trek, a non-stop service that travels up the branch line, past Farquhar, and up the newly laid section of line that terminated at Ulfstead Station, where the tourists would make their way up to the hotel and explore Ulfstead Castle. One morning, Tanner arrived at Farquhar to collect the coaches for his first train. He was having a drink at the water tower when he heard Thomas arrive at the platform. Thomas had been early because the firelighter had lit him instead of Toby, and this put him in a fairly grumpy mood. "If the firelighter keeps making mistakes like this, I'll wear myself out." Tanner's tanks had been filled up, and he slowly made his way to the carriage sheds. Grabbing the coaches, he made his way out of the yard, only to hear Thomas again. "Who knows? Maybe Tanner will take my place after I'm mended that day, and I'll be stuck at the big station yard again." The points to Hackenbeck Tunnel were sent against him, and Tanner had to wait with his coaches in tow. He didn't want to listen to Thomas, but he couldn't help but listen. "So much about wanting to see the world, it's actively trying to get rid of me. And he doesn't know what I went through to get this branch line. He's selfish." Tanner's points were set his way, and he went down the branch line. He wanted to laugh, but there was something about what Thomas said that made him more upset than usual. Selfish? How am I selfish? Why is he so convinced that I could replace him? He said I didn't know his situation, but I've been stuck in a station yard before. I know what that feels like. All of Tanner's memories of him being stuck at Brighton flooded back into his smoke box, and they lingered for the rest of his journey. When Tanner arrived at the junction, he saw Daisy at the platform and decided to speak about his predicament to her. "I think Thomas's teasing has gotten to me," Tanner said weakly, "and I don't know how much I can handle." Daisy pondered, and then spoke. "He needs to learn how valuable you are. You lighten his workload, and I think he's taking your presence for granted." Before Tanner could get another word in, Daisy went into a whisper. "I obviously don't approve of this, but what if you could pay him out and pretend to be ill? Maybe after a long day of hard work, he'll surely stop teasing you." Tanner's mood had been improved when he heard Daisy's plan. "I don't think I can fake being ill," he said, "but I can definitely come up with something. I'll only do it if you can get Thomas to cover the trek." "Oh yes, I certainly can." The two engines made their deal, and their plan was set into motion. That morning, when Tanner crawled out of Tidmouth Sheds, he purposefully jammed his brakes open. His driver couldn't stop him in time, and he crashed through the buffers at an empty siding in the yard. Sir Topham Hatt informed the Farquhar station master of the news, and it spread to Thomas's crew. "Looks like Tanner's had an accident this morning," his driver said, "and with Daisy's fitter arriving today, we're gonna have to do double the work." Thomas was relieved. "Finally," he said, "a workload all to myself." Thomas usually just pulled Annie and Clarabelle, and sometimes his special coach. But now that he had to cover for Tanner and Daisy's workload, he had to carry the coaches for the trek as well. He had been busy all morning and had stopped to have a drink at the junction. "Phew," he said. "I didn't expect to have this much work to do. My wheels are so sore." Soon enough, the guard's whistle blew, and Thomas, done having a drink, left for Ulfstead once more. "This'll be the last train to the castle," said his driver. "We'll refuel once we head back." The hot summer heat had been bothering Thomas and his crew, and his wheels became sorer and sorer. Once they passed Farquhar Station, things began to take a turn for the worse. The line to Ulfstead Station was the steepest gradient on Thomas's branch line. As he crossed over Castle Bridge, he struggled up the hill. Thomas's sore wheels, combined with the weight of the coaches, was proving to be too much for him. "I'm too hot! I'm too..." There was a loud bang! Thomas's safety valves had burst, and the weight of the coaches sent him rolling backwards. Luckily, Clarabelle's guard applied the brakes, and the train soon came to a stop outside of Farquhar Station. "Oh dear," Thomas said painfully. His fireman quickly ran to the station and informed the station master. Tanner, who had just been repaired, arrived at the scene, and Sir Topham Hatt was displeased. "I knew I should have asked another engine to cover the Ulfstead trains," he said. "Now Thomas needs to be mended again." Tanner, who had been feeling extremely guilty about the whole thing, decided to speak up. It's my fault, sir. Thomas kept teasing me and saying things that upset me. I wanted to show him how valuable I was. Daisy gave me the idea, and I regret it all, sir. I'm so sorry." "I understand," said the Fat Controller, "but I do not excuse such behavior. As your punishment, you will handle Thomas's trains, and Daisy will cover the trains to Ulfstead. Once Thomas returns, I'm assigning you to work elsewhere. Do I make myself clear?" "Yes, sir," said Tanner. After a month, Thomas had been fixed and returned to his branch line, while Tanner was sent to work at the yards at Vickerstown and Croven's Gate. He also made friends with the Skarloey engines. But I shouldn't say more, or I shall spoil the next story.